podcast with the owner of Bent Motorsports, David Beckett, and his crew, Jacob Hunsinger, James Hernandez, and Jake Russo. Listen in as the guys discuss all things motorsports, including tech tips and current shop projects.
Are you ready to talk about cars?
All right, so welcome back, everybody. This is the original four of us, the two Jakes, James, and myself. And
None of those old fogies.
Yeah, none of the old fogies, none of the no more Rubicon talk. We're going to go back.
Rubicon is overrated anyway.
It's over. It's done. It's in the past. Now we're going to talk about.
Overrated, right?
Oh, and so that voice you just heard is
a
new glom on. It's Rob from next door.
It's Rob.
It's Rob.
It's Rob.
It's Rob.
Oh, look, they shut up.
Oh, no, they barked again. Yeah, I did it. I just went by outside. so Rob's from next door at the distillery, and he often hangs out with us.
And he owns a Miata.
He owns a Miata.
I bought it from Dave's
really
buddy.
often.
It was Dave's favorite car. There's pictures of Dave winning championships in it. Just
I
so
raced
everyone
that
knows.
car. I have to admit, I did race that car. Anyway, we could go down that road, but I would rather not.
I
It's a
don't
different
want
time.
to
I was in
either.
college. It was an experimental phase of my life. So,
Hell yeah.
So anyways, we'll hear from Rob a little bit. There was an open microphone here,
He's
and
bi-curious
he found it.
with Miata.
So
Poached.
our bad for not locking the front door, right?
Exactly. And now you can't shut me the fuck up.
So let's start off with saying that if you haven't been by the shop lately, we actually moved, and it wasn't a big move.
Super
it was
far.
just like next door. So we were literally in Suite 103, and Suite 101 and 102 was available. So we moved next door into those two suites. So now we have twice the size of shop.
Twice the motorsports.
Yeah, so twice the
the
motorsports.
Bent.
So instead of having 100 square feet, we've got 200 square
Woo!
feet. Yeah.
You could say that we're close,
Yeah.
but closer.
So that's nice. We have room.
Got him.
So that's nice that we have some more space to room.
Keep stuff.
Yeah. So essentially what that means is all the shit that Jake's stored outside is now stored inside the shop
Yes.
where it can be safe,
Yes.
apparently.
And we have the same amount of work.
It's like
Yeah,
it's like buying insurance, but a little bit different.
There's a
God.
assimilated organization to this place, though. That was not at the last one.
Hey, Rob, I know you're new. You got to talk
Oh.
into the microphone.
Maybe you should turn the mic so
The
that when
problem
you're
with these distillery guys is
Yeah,
they
we
sit
can't
around
look straight.
testing alcohol all day
There's-
long.
Mhm.
There's three of everything.
Not only
all
do they
the
test
time.
alcohol, but they test how to ingest alcohol.
you know, that way.
There you go. There you go.
Jake,
Ha.
talking to a microphone when you're
Much better.
talking.
There you
Yeah,
go.
if you're gonna explain something
it
to
here.
me,
You should get a
everyone
wireless
should
if
hear
you're going to be
Everyone
walking
should
around.
Okay, we should not all talk.
I think
I
that
don't
the best
understand
time.
this.
Everybody just
We
fuck
do
it.
this
Fuck
all
it.
the
Just
time.
talking
Maybe this is your first time?
am,
You guys over there, shut up so I can hear them.
employee at Bent.
Can we please just edit this
Motorsports.
entire part out?
Yeah,
No.
fuck it. We're going to cut all that out. What do we do, James? You do a clap? Okay, good. From that point. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the podcast. We just said a whole bunch of stuff that I don't want to recap, so let's go right into what we're working on in the shop.
There's a Defender still, but it's a
Oh.
different Defender.
Yeah.
So the original Defender that we worked on that left has been gone for several months. Has come back for a few little trinkety things. But
Like
that's
gas.
like gasoline, but that's neither here nor there. So that'll actually be gone tomorrow. But bigger projects, the other Defender that has the Cummins engine in it is coming along very nicely.
We got that guy test started. Did we talk about that before?
I don't
think so. So yeah,
That's
we test
cool.
ran the engine.
The R2.8 is alive.
Yeah,
It's quieter than I expected,
Super
actually.
quiet.
Even though we just had the maybe 6 inches from the turbo right on the
Yeah,
downpipe.
literally 6 inches from the turbine on the exhaust.
And
It's
it was
just like a little
quiet.
dump.
You
You
should
know?
keep it like that.
Sound
dude,
like
it was nice. It was really cool. And now Jake, today and yesterday's, is putting on this beautiful, beautiful 2.5-inch stainless exhaust on the whole thing. I'm like, man, this is gonna be like a Prius. Nobody's gonna hear it coming.
It's gonna be super quiet because I mean everybody knows turbo cars are naturally more quiet than you're naturally aspirated.
Everybody knows.
Everybody
that.
knows.
If you didn't know that, you're dumb. But
There you go. There goes
I
5
mean,
well,
listeners.
well, you think
Thanks
of
for
it.
listening, everybody.
Yeah.
I
Sorry
don't
that
blame
we-
me for tuning out.
You employ some assholes.
You see all the dudes with Power Strokes and Duramaxes, they literally always cut their mufflers out and cut their cats out. So the fact that we're putting a muffler on this thing, it's going to be a Prius.
You just outed like every diesel owner ever. Like, thanks EPA or who is it?
They're
That
gonna come
California
Oh,
Air
yeah,
Resource
yeah,
Board.
Sorry, no, I have nothing to do with like carb standards or smog, you know.
This
just
is
saying.
recorded in
Can
Arizona.
we talk about the R2.8 real quick
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and why it's so cool?
Because it has a plastic oil pan.
Oh, I was gonna say because it was designed by a woman.
That's also really cool.
She killed it.
And she's super nice.
She said, "Hey, everybody likes the Cummins, and everybody likes the 4BT, which is like a baby Cummins,
Yeah.
right?"
Right.
And she's like, "I'm gonna redesign one and make it not suck like the new diesels."
I gotta admit, this is our first experience with one of those, and the thing was super easy to put in. I mean, it comes in a crate. Obviously, it's designed to be plugged into random things, so it comes with everything you need, and it was really easy to do that.
There was what, like,
We plumbed in the fuel lines. The fuel pump is integrated onto the bell housing, actually.
Mhm.
And what else? A couple of hots and a ground, and boom,
dude, there
thing
was,
turned
like,
on.
maybe 7 to 10 wires that went to that whole thing.
Yeah, and it
You
comes
know?
with its own display on it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a legit kit. If it and they go on sale all the time, which is
Yeah.
rad. You can pick them up for what, like
I think the
8 or
last
9.
sale was 7,500.
That's
was
a
the last sale.
ripping deal
Really?
for 300 pound-feet of torque and a pretty decent
like,
gas mileage.
it come-
Shut up.
Yeah.
The one
diesel-
Jake is yelling at the other Jake, and the other Jake cannot handle it.
Yeah.
I just want to say something. I like the motor.
Go. That's a good.
No,
Do we
that's
have
it.
any information on the aftermarket? Because it's a relatively new platform, so we don't know how much
Yeah,
power
I
you
know
can
that-
really push out of it.
Right, and I don't know, and I'm not in the know on that.
They
I
did
mean-
come out with a tune though. Like they reflashed the ECU, which picked up what, like I think it was a couple pound-feet of torque or
And
something.
like 10 horsepower, I think. I mean, and that was Cummins saying, "Hey, send us an email," and then they said, "Hey, throw your ECU in a box and send it back to us. We'll reflash it and send it back to you." So
Cool.
That's
my
rad.
guess is, I mean, just outsider looking in, maybe they found some other issues that they wanted to get rectified. So it was an easy way, to give us a little.
What kind of fuel pump's on this baby?
Well, it's like what, injection pump?
Yeah.
Well, it's what is this?
Common rail with
common
the-
rail
It's like
and-
a mechanical fuel pump, isn't it?
It's a mechanical fuel pump?
Mhm.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Like, where this is all 6BT.
Is it
territory.
mechanical? Yeah, I'm not super diesel guy.
I believe it runs off the flywheel.
Well, the problem
or the
is
flex
you
plate.
still can't bump start it like a 6BT, right? Because that was in a mechanical injection pump. So this has a mechanical fuel pump that then supplies the common rail, and then you still have to have the ECU that triggers all the injectors when to fire. Whereas before you had
But it's still
directly from. It's still a great design.
Yeah, and then you've also just got a massive iron. It's a cast iron block,
Yeah.
right? Cast iron head, like
Plastic
porch.
oil pan.
Plastic oil
Forward-
pan.
Well, when you got a 900-pound motor, you got to find some way to reduce weight.
I mean, I get it. They're saving weight, right? And the argument to the off-road world is when you complain about the plastic oil pan is you would protect a steel oil pan with a skid plate just as well as you should protect this one.
yeah.
We had a story about that actually, about just a metal oil pan being a problem after it got hit as well.
Oh,
Remember that?
do you want me to throw back? all
Throw
the
it back,
way?
yeah.
Throw it back. Oh,
Actually, just do a short one because we
Everybody-
talked about this a long time
I know.
ago.
Can we just make a dream sequence noise? Though?
Yeah, dream sequence.
Okay, so one time Jake and I were out in the desert and we were ripping around and I was in a Celica and I hit a little baby's head rock. I'm not sure if you guys are mountain bikers, but a baby's head is a rock roughly the size of a baby's head. And put a
Like
little...
if somebody buried a baby up to its nose
Yes.
Forewarning: no babies were buried.
or injured in this instance.
But yeah, it hit the oil pan and we were like, oh, fuck, that's bad. So then we were like, well, what do we do? And it was fine. And I was like, okay. So I drove it around for like 2 more weeks and everything was good. But then one time, because this was our rowdy car, so Jake and I were feeling kind of rowdy, and we're like, well, let's just go do figure eights.
It was rainy and it was a little muddy in this lot.
Yeah, and there's like this kind of like rainy, muddy lot, and like you could slide on it, and for a car with an automatic transmission and an open differential, you could get this thing sideways if you just brake boosted a little bit. Anyway, we did that for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, legit, like 20 minutes.
Until we just completely oil starved the engine and just blew it up.
Because you had no idea you had taking the oil pan out.
Okay, so it was
Well,
the oil pan, and it hit the pickup, and it kinked the pickup.
Yeah.
So the oil pan dented, but didn't drop the fluid out.
No,
Correct.
It just wasn't able to pump it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, this was like a day
then-
later.
On smaller loads, like if you're not revving the piss out of it, say, it had enough juice to get to oil itself, and it was okay. But once you start really revving it up there, it didn't have enough. So
That's awesome.
really, basically, long story short, when you get your next project car and you're like, I need to build an oil pan before I take this out, but then somebody's like, let's go to the desert, and you're like, okay, I don't need to do that anymore. I'm just going to go to the desert. You do need to do that.
You need to do
You
it.
do need to do it. You should do it. You're dumb. Do it.
Skid plates are rad.
Yeah, because so what? I don't know what the motor is, the Pentastar or whatever Brian has in his Jeep.
Okay, so like 13 to
3.6 liter
17
Jeep
or
motor.
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever
So
price
that guy
it is.
has the aluminum oil pan, but there's also another piece. I think it's steel. That's a smaller pan that's integrated into that pan, right? He actually purchased a skid plate just for the smaller section of that pan, and we bashed that guy on the Rubicon, and luckily it held all in place and stuff. So
Yeah, that-
regardless,
that's
you're
good
gonna
to-
need a skid plate. It doesn't matter what your material you made
So
it.
it's okay to have a plastic oil pan because no matter what, you should be protecting it.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what your skid plate's made out of. If you're gonna hit a rock, it doesn't matter what your oil
Oil pan.
pan's made out of. If you're gonna hit rock,
It's going to break.
it's gonna break.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
well, anyway, yeah, our 2.8 good motor. Is that what we're saying?
Well, so far I don't see anything wrong with it.
We haven't driven it yet, obviously, but I'm actually really looking forward to driving that thing.
Seems like
I think I'm going to be a candidate to get one when my Jeep finally pops its engine.
which you've been actually actively
Trying.
Trying to do, yes.
trying
Yeah.
to do. So, by the
Yes.
way, kind of big ups, even though it's a total dog crap motor.
It's a dog. That engine, well, everybody
it-
says the 4-liter inline 6 on the
They're
Jeeps is
bomb-proof.
bulletproof, right?
I don't think you can call it a dog because Jamie's ran for what? It's at like 340
340,000
now.
miles.
Yeah.
Head has never come off it.
Oh, I don't think a
no,
dog.
and that vehicle, by the way, we sold to my neighbor. It is still operational and running. He
Really?
drives it all the time. He's probably close to 400,000 miles by now.
No way.
And
Yeah.
mind you,
Wait,
he is a young
This
adult
is a,
male,
this
so
is a Grand Cherokee.
oh,
The
man,
ZJ?
just keep
The
going.
ZJ.
Yep,
I missed
keep
that
it
car. It was
going.
so
Let's all do
good.
it at the same time. Fuck you guys.
So and then so my Jeep's only just now got 100,000 miles. I think I'm
You're
999,000 miles or something.
999,
99,000
Not
miles.
900. You
How
got
many
another
how many
zero.
nines?
The
99.
million-mile LJ.
5.
Days in a minute. How's it go?
5.
Anyways, I'm just ready to turn 100,000 on my Jeep, and I've overheated it. I don't know, several hundred times, trying to blow it up, and it just won't. So I guess
I
I'm
don't
not
think
gonna-
you overheated it. I think Mishimoto overheated
Oh, we're
it.
not supposed to name them.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
we
don't
can't.
talk
Oh,
shit about
sorry.
Mishimoto, even though their stuff is fucking garbage. Let's not talk shit about other companies.
Apparently, they only work well in drift cars. I think.
Yeah,
Apparently.
just drift cars.
I
That's
think
it.
they
Yeah.
only work well in drift cars.
Because
Yeah.
you want to know why?
Why?
Because they only run for like 10 seconds, right?
Oh, yeah.
You start and you drift for like probably 10 to 15 seconds and you're done. That's it. Shut the car off. It goes in the pits. You change tires
They're
out.
good for when
You're
you live
going-
life a quarter mile at a time.
Exactly.
And you're not granny shifting.
And dude, the engine's probably not even up to optimal temp by then. It doesn't. You could run the thing without a radiator, for all I'm concerned.
Right?
I tried that last week. Not too good.
It didn't
so,
work.
so
right?
let's talk about that, guys. So say you owned my Jeep, and this engine finally gives up. The most economical way to go is to pull it and put a stroker in it, right?
Yes.
You can get the, what is it, golden
Golden shower.
Some,
No.
Sorry.
Nope,
Oh, sorry.
not golden shower. for
Water
sure not that.
sports.
$200.
Golden
That's
engine,
all you
Eagle
pay?
engines, whatever. They sell a stroker
Golden Eagle.
version that you get a lot more power, a lot more performance, and I don't have to do anything here in the state of California because they are none the wiser, right? You just swap the block out.
Same block. They don't know what's
They don't
inside.
know, right? You get it smogged still. It's simple.
Are you saying that you're gonna disobey California
The
regulations
law,
of
the
smog?
California law.
Every day. Every day.
Okay, cool.
Every day.
He does not use his
Who
turn
would
signal.
do such a thing?
And then,
Gosh.
or do you get the R2.8?
Or
and then now I have to really illegally smog it, right? Because what do I do, right? That's got a diesel engine in a
No.
Jeep, not legal in California.
You go find a POS like overcab Isuzu, and then you pull the 4BT out of that,
Finally.
and you use that.
You know why?
It's the more old school version of the 2.8,
Yeah.
and it's got the Cummins roots, Cummins.
Who needs a quiet ride when you got a Cummins?
Yeah, but I don't want to have to turn the engine off at the drive-through. I want to be able to leave the engine running.
Well, then
while
maybe
I
you
order.
should actually route your exhaust correctly this
I want
time.
to order my Egg McMuffin
I
with
know
my
a guy.
engine
Is that why
running.
it's so loud?
I don't know.
It was playing quiet when we had the
David?
exhaust tip on it.
Or do you do an LS swap like Jake does? LS guy. Do you do
LS
an LS
swap,
swap?
You know
with
what?
Jeep?
Honestly, in the Jeep, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Bless you.
I mean,
you know,
it's
that-
probably
Oh, exactly.
fine.
Why do I want to do that, right? I think if I had to go do the Rubicon again and I had an R2.8, I would have a wonderful time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you need to stick with something that's straight because your engine bay, there's some shit in there,
Yeah.
There's some
And
shit
to
in there.
add some more to it, a V
I don't want to have to
would be a
move my
pain in the ass.
compressor.
Yeah, I don't want to move it either
Yeah,
because
exactly.
let's face it, you are not going to do anything. So
Yeah,
I don't want to have to go in the shop and tell you guys to move my air
Yeah.
compressor.
Wait, what did you mean by he won't do anything?
it means he will. Well,
Yeah, what does he mean?
well, he will. Okay, he'll come out and he'll say, "I want this inside this, and I want this out of this," and that's what he'll do. So that's the limit of
That's
it. Then
what
he'll
Dave
come in
will do?
here.
He does that
He'll
quite
scroll through
often.
Facebook. You
Do you know
know,
he'll be in the air conditioning you're talking about?
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
He'll be in the heat bay.
Yes.
Yes.
You do
Okay.
know that Dave is the
Sauna.
boss, right?
Yeah, but
it
we're
doesn't
off
That's
matter.
not
work
the
right now.
discussion we're having.
This is
Like-
a
You do know that's what a boss does,
during
right?
during the day. This is what we say. We get yes, David. Thank you, David. And then we go back to work. But now it's like,
Yeah,
you know
after-
what?
off
This
the
guy's
clock.
an
after
ass.
5. Who the fuck is this guy?
I can't say anything. I haven't showed up to work in like a week and a half.
Wait, you still work here?
I do.
James is still on payroll. He's had several no-call, no-shows. HR's been hounding my ass, but I still haven't signed the termination paperwork
He
yet.
didn't.
What's that quote in 300? I'm a gracious God, or
I
something
am a
like that.
gracious God. Yeah, David is though. I just came back in.
Oh my gosh.
I would definitely say go R2.8 over LS, just because it's one of those things. If you were like taking that thing to the dunes, you wanted to really
I
haul
don't want
ass.
to do that.
Yeah,
I don't want to do It's a Jeep.
Dude.
even around town, it's not going to get any better mileage, I don't think, than what you're getting now. Maybe a little bit better
Oh,
mileage.
it's going to get better mileage.
But like the R2.8, I feel like has way better potential as a mileage.
And then dump the NP231 and put an Atlas in it.
Yeah, and that thing's set.
I think that your limitation with the R2.8, I mean, because it has plenty of torque and it has plenty of power, in comparison to what the motor that you have in there, I think you would just have to pick the optimal transmission. And we've already seen that you could put a 6L80 before it, you could put a manual before it. There are plenty of options. Atlas makes all those adapters for it. You could haul ass with those things.
Atlas does have hella adapters.
I mean, yeah. And they're in Paso, so you could have some
Yeah.
wine. But my thing is like, think about the 4BT. How old is it? It's now...
It's really old.
It's old. So who's to say that this isn't the next 4BT? We just haven't seen the aftermarket because it's been out for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, when you think about it in a lot of ways, like we haven't seen a good aftermarket plug and play engine in 15 years or something. How long do you think? Like, I don't think there's a
Well, I mean-
standard, like, the Chevy 350 LS, like whatever you want to say.
The carbureted 454 SS from Chevy that puts out 750 fucking horsepower.
That's
that thing
a
is
crate.
sick.
That's a crate motor that you buy online.
Yeah,
but
it's aftermarket. It's
anyway,
plug and play. Goddammit.
normal 454, the 454 Vortec. Oh my god, I'm so excited to get this thing on the road and find out what we can get out of it.
So yeah,
I mean, we're talking cathedral ported heads on a 454 with electronic fuel injection. What the sky's the limit.
Weren't we just talking about the Cummins though?
James likes the big boys.
What are you
I mean,
gonna
we're
put this
just
in?
talking about, what is up?
What are you gonna put that in?
No, it's already in a Suburban.
Ooh.
But it's blown up.
Oh
No, it's not blown
That one.
up. It's
Almost
just-
blown up.
It's. I mean, realistically, if I regrind the
Crank.
crankshaft and get new bearings,
realistically,
it'll go. But I want to rebuild the whole thing, so I don't have to worry about it forever.
Yeah.
how close are we? Well, hey, before we do that, is there anything else we want to cover on this? Because I'm pretty sure that we
No, we've
jumped
moved
ship a
on.
lot.
Yeah.
We've moved on.
All right.
RT
So what's
2.8.
so after this, what's your decision? Because
Well,
this
I'm
is
still going to do whatever I want to do. So
yeah, oh,
Which
no,
is an
thanks for all
LS
the
swap.
input.
no, I know, but nobody really cares what you're gonna do. But just tell us anyways.
so we can make.
So you're gonna get a stroker and R2.8.
R2.8.
Yeah, I figured,
Supercharged.
whatever.
The 4-liter.
No, okay, no. In reality, that if that engine blew up tomorrow, I'd put a stroker in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I don't want to have to deal with trying to
So
get it fucking
lazy.
illegally smogged. It's such a joke in California. So.
Oh, I
it
know.
really is.
And plus, you don't want to be a rule breaker.
Yeah, I don't want to be a rule breaker.
I want to conform.
Yeah, that's me.
So on to you. How close are we?
Realistically, we're not that close. I mean, this kind of plays
Have
into.
faith, man.
Well, I mean, no, this plays into lots of my let's see, equity or investments. You know, as an adult, because you know, I shake, I move, I deal. You know,
He's
is
a
wrapped
hustler.
up.
They know me as a hustler.
It's wrapped up in used cars and used car parts, and right now it is official. Like the used car market and used car parts,
Shit.
it's down.
Dog.
Like
Yeah.
it's hard to measure it, but it's down. Never have I ever had such a problem selling things that are worth money.
It's a good buyer's market right now, let me tell you.
Apparently, like I have guys offering me like a quarter to a half of what I paid for this stuff, and I'm like, I can't let it go for like, you know.
So
that
that's what you
much.
got to do right now is go out and start buying. To buy
'Cause you-
buy a bunch of inventory. So when it goes up, now you've got it to sell.
Well, that's actually, I mean, that's just the problem though. Is like I'm trying to simplify my life, David. I have 3
You
cars.
picked the wrong
Okay,
time
so-
to simplify your life.
So you have the single cab Chevy, right?
Yeah, which is clean.
Yeah. So
too.
you're trying to sell that. You're trying to sell a
a full 1UZ.
Lexus V8, right?
Yeah, with a manual transmission, the whole 9.
From an S14 or something like that.
No, not an
S13.
Are you
LS400.
stupid or something?
Trans?
No, oh
The
yeah,
K
no,
trans.
the trans is from an S14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you stupid?
But it's a
Idiot.
260
Sometimes.
horsepower V8 with a 5-speed, and it's ready to get dropped into anything. It's a lightweight motor. It's high revving.
What if you told them they could have an MR2 free to go with it?
Oh my god.
No
Ooh.
engine, no transmission.
This is getting off topic. So basically, right now, like if anybody out there, if you're trying to sell stuff, you might have noticed this too. Like the market's down.
It sucks.
I don't know what to
Dude,
do about
Take
it.
whatever you can get
Except
for that
for-
truck.
No, because people are literally offering me like $300 for it.
Tell them 5 and you got a deal.
No, they want it $300 with the shell. The shell cost me $300.
Yeah, well, that's just a loss you're going to have to
My
take,
DR
brother.
cost
Sell
me
the shell full
$2,000.
price and they get a truck for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, the more people offer me no money for this stuff, the more I think, well, why don't I just use it? Because I already own it,
Yes.
and you know,
Throw an LS in it. Throw the 1UZ in the truck.
I've thought about this.
You have 2 things that can go together with the 5-speed and everything.
I've
It'll
thought
be a
about this.
pre-runner.
This is really hard for me not to do.
You
'Cause
have both of them.
Putting
do
it
it.
in the truck would be awesome.
Just do it.
The only thing is that the truck weighs like 4,000 pounds.
So
Yeah,
what?
Super.
Didn't that come in the Tundras?
No, the 2UZ came in the Tundra.
Yeah, close enough. Just dropped a 1. Or added a 1.
Anyway, that's enough about that. The used car market is down, and we're all in trouble. And if you have equity in what we call equity, I call it moving equity, rolling equity. I push my equity up the driveway. I push my equity down the driveway. I hoist my equity with
With the cherry picker.
a cherry picker, and I
Well-
move it onto a
Well,
tire.
in the famous words of our friend Ken, if you don't sell it, you haven't lost anything.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. I'll cheers
That's a
to that.
great point.
Watch
Uh,
I think that's where we're all at right now.
I'm probably losing a couple $100 by selling that truck, and I just need to count my losses.
Every single decision I've ever made in my life has netted me probably negative money. That you remember the Forerunner? That
Yeah.
was a sick project.
That was a great
10
project.
grand in, 7 grand back. Woohoo!
Wait,
10
really?
grand into that thing?
Probably.
No way! I thought you.
I made so much money off of that thing.
I thought you bought it for and then put in some and then you sold it for like.
And then you
Give the
could
title
do
to
anything.
somebody else.
The Cherokee was a good one
You
though.
sold it for $2,500 more than you bought it for,
Yes.
and that didn't help.
Time that was spent on that was quite a
Gosh, dang.
175 an hour, by the way.
I don't know
That's
if
how
I
much
don't
it
think
costs.
I don't think I ever lose a ton of money. I lost money on the savory
Oh
salmon.
my gosh.
bit. Yeah, well,
That was it.
that was
The
just.
savory
You
You
forgot
forgot
about
about
that
it.
Hold
guy,
on.
huh?
I'm not aware of the savory salmon.
Of like the last 10 cars I've flipped, that was probably that was the only one I think I lost money on.
Dude,
Dude, what was it again?
The savory
It was-
Saturn.
It was like a
it was a
Dodge or
It was a
a
Dodge
Sat-
Avenger,
No,
no?
it was a
No.
Saturn
It was a Dodge.
Sunfire.
No.
right?
No, it was
No.
a Dodge. It was,
a
a Dodge,
Dodge.
because it had the Dodge logo in the
Oh, it
front.
looked
I was
like a fucking
dude, it looks
Viper.
like a Viper. And it was red, too.
But it was like whatever the first year that they came
It was
out.
Yeah,
it was a Sunfire though. That's
No.
what it.
It
No,
was a Dodge.
Pontiac.
I want to say
It
it
was
was
a
a
Dodge.
Sebring.
It was for,
Uh,
it was just.
No,
that's a Chrysler.
It wasn't a Sebring.
Oh,
Anyways,
who
it was
Dodge
red at
Stratus.
one point. But
I
it had
drive a
faded
Dodge
to the
Stratus.
savory salmon color.
We purchased a car that we were going to use as a gambler because it was a good deal. Then he took it to get it smogged, and the smog guy was like, "Okay, well just floor it real quick, give it a good tap. If it puffs smoke, you're fucked." So what does he do? Stomps on it, just puffs out smoke and keeps on smoking. And he's just like, "Man, this is a common problem with these. Dump it quick." So we dumped it.
We dumped it.
But that interior cleaned up real nice because
Yeah.
it was gross at first.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, what do we got going by out here? Trophy truck.
Oh my gosh.
That was
a nice
sick.
truck.
Howdy.
Pre-runner.
An OBS
Ford.
F-150,
Ford.
F-350. Who knows?
Straight
Shoot.
sheet.
So
Metal
so
body.
right across
That
from
was
us
hot.
is CRB Alumafab, Kurt Beam and his company, where they do all sorts of sick custom fabrication on wickedly cool buggies and all sorts of trick shit. So, anyways, we not only do we get some cool stuff in our shop, but we get to watch cool stuff go into his shop.
And
Yeah.
we throw back. They throw it at us. We throw it at them.
Yeah, we work good together. We do a lot of wiring. They don't do wiring. We do mechanical work. They don't. So back and forth, we share jobs. It's kind of cool.
It's nice to have someone that knows how to fab around you. Like
Yeah.
custom sheet metal work, just whatever
Kurt's
you
a-
need.
Yeah, and he's a witch at that stuff.
Yeah, they have a Bronco in there. I don't know if I could even talk about this because it's kind of top secret.
Well,
but,
then don't talk about it.
well, he posted a picture on Instagram. So there was a vehicle, and the customer basically came in and said, "I want my whole dash and my early '90s Bronco to look like brand new F-250." So they bought all the factory AC vents. They got the cool little shapes to them, and they basically grafted a dash around the vents and made it look like
Yeah,
his
so they
brand new
essentially-
F-250.
They essentially made an F-250 dash out of aluminum
Why wouldn't you just
because that's not
retro
Dude,
mod?
because there's Lawrence GPSs grafted into it too,
Wow.
Yeah,
gauges,
it's sick.
shifters,
Very
dude,
cool.
it is super trick.
So let's jump into what we did all day today. So Jake, we already talked about you putting a
Exhaust.
stainless exhaust on the Defender, but then
It looks really good.
we got what
Thanks,
year is
man.
that Bronco? 69?
Yeah,
70?
69.
60s Bronco.
The year.
Bronco customer brought it in. We're doing a 1-inch body lift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 1-inch body lift on it. Because those old pucks were so worn out, man.
Dude, they were squished.
Yeah, so and they're like 3/4 of an inch tall. So then you take those out and you put in a 1-inch body lift, and you're only really lifting it, a quarter, like half an inch, I think, is what we're gaining. So you get a tiny bit more clearance over stock. But that took all day because one thing leads to another. The fan shroud doesn't fit anymore. The Hydro Boost hydraulic
'Cause
line is too short.
The engine is
It's
attached.
crazy when
The
you move the entire
It's
body
like,
of
dude,
a
yeah.
vehicle.
The engine is attached to the frame, but the radiator and the fan is also attached to the engine, but the radiator is attached to the body. So when you, it's like everything just goes so far out of whack.
Yeah,
So dumb.
it's a bummer because as the customer's point of view, they think, oh, it's a body lift, throw in some new pucks, we're good to go. And then when you give them the bill, it's like, hey, sorry, but it took all day to do that because we had to modify the shift linkage and the
Yeah.
steering column and blah blah blah. But that was good. Jake got that knocked out today, and then tomorrow I think we're gonna put a in the back of that Bronco, we're gonna put a little cut and access patch for a little access door so you can access the fuel pump, the in-tank fuel pump.
For access.
Yeah, for access.
Cool.
Did I say that twice?
No.
Did I
Not
say it in my head?
access.
Access.
Accessibility.
Mm.
So that's a quick job in and out. We're still working on that 3100 Chevy pickup. Got the engine and trans mocked in there, right? Jake
Just
modified
about.
the cross member.
Yeah, I think now all that's left is we've got it pretty much as low as it'll go without removing the stock transmission cross member.
Mhm.
Now all we have, I guess it's stock transmission cross member. Now I think what we're gonna end up doing is modifying the tunnel slightly because we just can't get it low enough. Because originally it had the 235, we put the 250 in it, and then I don't even know what transmission came in it, but
I
now
don't
we
know.
put what did we put in it? A 4R70? No, a 4L60. Put the 4L60 in there, so it ought to shift nice and smooth.
Wait. The transmission in the truck?
Yeah.
We didn't put a 700 R4 in it?
No, it's 4L60. It's an early 4L60 that resembles a lot like a 700 R4.
So we don't have a 700 R4 in the 3100?
No.
We're going to have a meeting after the podcast, everybody.
Oh, no.
Just in my office.
Wait.
Immediately following the podcast.
Did we not know this?
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Somebody's ass is getting
Well, Who sold
I'm
it?
not
Who
kidding.
sold us that piece of shit, anyways?
Oh wait, James, you sold us that.
Oh, hey,
I
buddy.
told you exactly what it was.
What
you
is
guys
it?
bought an electronic controller. You knew what you were doing.
That's true. We actually knew what we were doing.
That thing's kind of rad, though. You take, basically, this is a truck transmission, right? That came out of a 95,
93.
93 Silverado, and we're putting in it,
It's not a Silverado at 93.
Yeah, no, it was just
A
a
C1500,
C1500, right?
Idiot.
We're putting that transmission in a 53 Chevy with a old boat motor, which is cool.
The
We got
250 inline six.
Mer Cruiser.
Cruiser.
Isn't that for a boat?
Yeah.
It was. That engine was in a boat, and now it's in a truck.
It's pretty interesting seeing how
Bing.
everything fits together, though.
Well, they came with
Bang.
235s, right? Those trucks came with 235s, and everybody threw those engines in the garbage because they were junk, and put in 292s, right?
Yeah.
And so we didn't do that. We got a 250. But it was an engine the
Your
customer
customer
already
gave-
had.
yeah.
He already had it.
It was
so
like a block from a, what year, 70-something, then the heads were from an 80-something.
68 block, and then I think
84.
84 head.
Yeah.
But it's
So-
fine. I mean, all those engines are virtually pretty much the same. They're
There's
the same
just,
engine.
there's one more mounting ear on the front side of the motor, and then a different cam in it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and our distributor that's been on back order for a month is finally going to show up here on Monday, which is nice.
Ben Motorsports takes whatever you have in your garage and builds a bitchin' car out of it.
Pretty much. That's
It's
pretty much
what
we do.
we do.
Yeah, whatever you got, bring it in. We'll make it happen.
I'm pretty excited to see all the builds that, I mean, not all the builds, but the two builds that we have right now, I'm pretty excited to see done. The truck.
What build are
and-
you not excited to see done?
There's some. There's some.
The $40 dent side.
Yeah.
That's smashing.
I'm really excited to
that's
see
been
that done.
cut in half.
Yeah, why don't
Yeah.
we talk about that, Jake? Why don't you go into
Yeah,
that purchase?
Jake.
Nobody's heard about that.
Let me just throw my
Catch your breath,
Cheez-Its back.
everybody. Sit down, everybody.
Yeah,
and listen to this.
go ahead and listen to the Bent Motorsports video on Instagram, and you'll hear some breathing in it.
I'm fat. Stop it.
And today this is our. Hold on a second. I gotta get a sip of Diet Coke real quick.
Cardiac arrest.
You guys are real pieces of shit. So, I always liked the old dent sides, the Ford F100 or F Series, I suppose. Good deal came up on OffRoad, which is pretty rare.
Super rare.
Talked to the guy, got the car. It's pretty legit. It was in an accident, so it was parked on the side of the road. Car came in from the back, hit the driver's side rear axle. I'm assuming it was like a small, four-door sedan or something like that.
It was a Camry.
It was a freaking Camry. I don't know. Judging by the plastic we found under the
Yeah.
bumper, it could be.
We found like the broken headlight shards and turn signals all like stuck in like the bed and the bumper just from the remnants of the crash.
So they must have hit it doing between 20 and 40 miles an hour, and they kicked that 9-inch rear end enough to actually bend the axle housing, and then the left side rear leaf spring was completely folded forward. So the frame didn't look like it took too much, but it was a little bit bent. If you couldn't tell, somebody's eating chips in here. Oh, they're taped closed. Good.
That means
pull-
they're fresh.
Sure.
Pull the next one. Yeah.
It's like a Band-Aid.
There's gonna be ants in it.
So the goal is with this truck. Oh, Jesus, fuck, man, really?
Keep talking.
Chew it in the mic. Chew it in the mic. The goal is with this build is I have already cut off the rearward section of the frame, so the leaf springs are gone. The rear axle is gone. We're gonna redo the rear frame, make a subframe for it, put a flatbed on that guy, 4-link it, throw a 14 bolt, use one of Ballistic Fab. They make a pretty badass shave kit because the 14 bolt, pretty much the most badass axle you can get. It's got a third pinion support bearing, so that's rad. It hangs down extremely low. Most of you people who've heard of the 14 bolt know that. So Ballistic Fab down, I think they're out of Tucson. They make a shave kit where you can shave off 2 inches of the bottom of the axle, which is rad. And then you just have to, put the diff in a lathe and take off about a half an inch of it. But still keeps all its strength. It's pretty cool. Put a Dana 60 up front, some radius arms that we've got laying around, and then just kind of make this into a badass all-arounder tow rig / off-roader / maybe take it to SEMA if anybody wants to sponsor this build, but we'll see about that.
It's a pretty sweet truck, just like the old patina of it. I don't know if it'll ever get painted or wrapped or whatever.
But it's
like,
rust-free, man.
Yeah,
that thing
super
is
clean.
It was pretty cool. It's a 75 F100. It's got the 302 in it. It was a long bed. Now it's a no bed. Somebody picked that up.
No
on-
bed, no back.
Yeah, buddy. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good project. I haven't taken on a project of this size yet, but I have, enough small projects to really waste my life away.
The other cool thing was that thing was in a rear end collision, and after we took all the leaf springs and the axle out from under it, we had it sitting there, and the frame was still straight.
Well, what
Yeah.
was funny was that it got hit so hard that the leaf spring bent in half and was putting so much force on the frame. The frame, when you looked at it with the bed off, the whole truck was twisted, like badly twisted.
And it looked
And
horrible.
so you chop off, he sawzalled through the leaf spring, and once all that tension was gone, the frame snapped back to straight. The thing is like dead on.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It didn't retain any of the bend.
So super stoked about that. I don't know. It's cool to have the idea and potential of having a vehicle that's going to be badass, usable on the trail. I had an Explorer, and we've talked about so many things, so many times of what I'm going to do, long travel or a solid axle swap. And then I finally realized, this is never going to be exactly what I want. And there's no sense in me modifying my daily driver, which is honestly the number one lesson somebody told me back in the day when I was about 15 years old, when I was looking for a car and saw all these pre-runners and badass cars, Buy yourself something that's going to get you around town. Buy yourself something else that you can modify. That way you're not going out to the desert or doing whatever stupid-ass stuff that young men do and crashing your car. Then look at you. You can't even get to work now. So trying to embrace that.
Yeah.
And
It's a
hopefully
great.
it
So
goes
we've
well.
been surfing the last couple times in the last couple of weeks in your daily, and it's a great little surf
Yeah,
rig.
the Explorer
Great
works
little
good
rig.
for that.
It's awesome. And I've seen it out in the desert. It goes in the desert for sure.
Yeah, so that's the goal with it. Make it a pretty badass off-roader / utilitarian. I'm never going to say overlanding because I just don't feel like that's a thing. I feel like that's just camping.
Overlanding is just camping, and there goes the rest of ours.
There goes them
There
all.
goes the rest of the listeners.
I just don't know why we have to rebrand things, Like, why can't camping was cool before it was renamed overlanding,
Like it was cool to just drive far out to find a sick place to camp.
Yeah, going to a KOA is not camping. That's
We just used to call it all off-roading.
it's all off-roading.
Because
man.
everything is branded now, right? Everything is branding.
Mhm.
We live in a
You can't-
branding era.
If you don't give it a name, like
doesn't
How do
exist.
people
You
know
you
what they're
can't
doing?
make money on
Yeah,
it.
that's exactly it. How are you going to get paid for it if it's not your thing?
You can't just call it car camping because that's just like, and you're just like, that's what you're doing. now.
Logical, like it makes sense.
Rooftop, ground top, man.
Rooftop ground top tent. Sorry. And now James' corner for the rooftop ground top tent. Talking of overlanding, how
Smart.
stupid it is. I'm sorry. There's so many people who
We're
are
trying
like,
to keep the
gonna hate
7
that.
last listeners.
I
Don't worry,
saw
my
the
mom's
other
still
day.
listening.
I was hanging out with.
Mine
I
too.
was hanging out with Ian of Wheel Every Weekend. Name drop. Boo! And
people.
he was showing me the rooftop ground top tent, which is where you take your rooftop tent and you attach it to this platform that connects to your tow hitch and then folds down. It holds it like upwards, horizontally on its side, or rather vertically on its side, behind your vehicle. So now it's just this big square behind your car
Uh-huh.
or truck. And then it folds down from there and it has little legs so that you can undetach it and then go and leave from camp. And your tent is set up at camp on the platform at camp. You can just, it doesn't have to be on top.
You can buy those from Walmart. They come in a little tiny bag, and they
You
fit
can-
behind your seat.
What?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
okay, but can you you can just take it out of your car whenever you want?
Yeah, it just fits right behind your seat. It comes
When
in a
you're
little
not-
bag.
When you're not using it, you can just leave it at home.
But the rooftop ground top tent only weighs like 150 pounds. Like, is it less than that?
Yeah, it only weighs like 40 ounces.
There's no way. No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave,
They're
this
just
is-
called tents. You
Wait.
Oh,
They
I
don't
see
have
what
the
he did.
rooftop. No
can get them
rooftop.
Amazon Prime next
Wait.
day.
You can
2
have
day.
a tent that's not on your car.
Yeah, you can have a tent that's not attached
Won't you
to your car.
die though or something?
Like bears.
I would so put one on the ground.
You'd put one on the ground?
I would totally put a tent on the ground.
that's
Hey, just so
wild.
you guys know, when we did the Rubicon, we camped at 2 campsites, right? We did one campsite before and one campsite after. And both times I put my tent on the picnic bench because that was my rooftop ground top tent.
I have a bad back. The unevenness of the floors.
Well, we
really
were with the
bad.
first campground we got to, right? The campsite
Jokes
was.
aside,
It was wet.
sorry, you put your tent on the picnic. Just put it on the ground, Dave.
Look, dude, I have a single man tent that's exactly the same size as a park bench, picnic bench, right? the tabletop and the picnic bench. The campground we were in had a slight slope on the whole campground. And you look at the picnic bench, and the rangers had like shimmed it up with concrete so that it was dead level. And I'm like, yeah, I just put it right there. It's dead
Oh, man,
level.
they hooked me up with a bed.
Yeah, and I put it up there. It's perfect.
Plus, the soil was super damp in the areas that we weren't laying
And I
on
forgot to
pure
bring a
granite.
tarp, so I would have got all wet.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. That's actually resourceful.
Me, I slept on the ground both
So
times.
then you look over at Jake, and I'd wake up in the morning, unzip my tent, zip, oh, sunshine, birds singing, and he's laying over there half out of his sleeping bag, sprawled out on like pine needles with dirt on his fucking face. Like, whatever, man. I was in the army. I'm a fucking man. It's like, all right, no, you got hammered.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why you're sleeping in the dirt.
Tell me one time you slept in the dirt where you didn't get hammered.
Never know.
Nervously scratches beard.
Fuck.
Well, and
Nervously scratched.
the other bonus, the night when we camped at Rubicon Springs, that was on the granite, so that was nice. That
David, we're not talking about the Rubicon anymore.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah.
We're talking about overlanding, so how about you
We get
shut
it.
up?
sorry, we're
You
talking
went
about.
to the Rubicon.
Last
This guy's
year.
so upset he doesn't have a rig to overland
Oh my
in.
gosh.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, sorry, you have to walk to your campsite.
James was invited to go with us.
What a
Mm.
peasant.
You only had 2 seats.
Didn't
though.
talk
Go. He didn't go, so
No.
oof, that's weird.
Anything
I
else,
really
boys?
wanted to go.
What other projects? So we did
Let's
a
see.
supercharger rebuild on an STSV yesterday. That was
That
sick.
thing was sweet.
How'd that go?
It was an oil change on an STSV,
Oh wow, you
Transmission
make me
fluid,
sound like
too.
an idiot.
and we changed the transmission fluid.
That thing was quick.
Dude, that
and
car
it sounded
hauls
like
ass.
a spaceship.
Yeah, it was pretty rad.
Not bad for something with a starter in the galley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the STSV for that year was just a North Star. a
Yeah, I thought it was an
supercharged North
LS. But I guess they were still sticking with that because I think they only made the STSV for 3 years or something like that.
Yeah, which one would you get if you could get it? Would you get the CTSV or the STSV? You get a 4-door or 2-door? The 2-door ones look pretty good.
They do, but the STSV to me looks like, what Saddam Hussein would get driven around in if he
So-
lived in like South LA.
It's more of a sleeper, right? The 4-door looks more like a sleeper Cadillac. Like,
Were-
peel those
Are
badges
you
off.
telling me it looks like a hearse?
Yeah,
Oh, dude,
it does.
it really
Got
does.
his ass.
It really, really does. Because there's
Boom,
the,
Saddam.
there's the CTSV, then there's the STS
Right.
V, which is what we had in here, and that's like the more. I think it's a long wheelbase
It's 4-door.
version of the CTS.
Well, it's a 2-door or 4-door.
Yeah, so see,
The
when you add 2 more
CTSVs
doors, it gets longer.
The CTSVs are 4 doors too.
Well, maybe it changed after this generation or something.
Are
The
you
CTSVs
sure?
are 4 doors.
Are
Okay.
you sure?
Yeah,
Yeah?
Are you sure?
Yeah,
This guy must be some Chevy guy or something.
yeah, I am.
Eh,
Look it up in a
hard to
book.
argue with Jake. He knows a lot of stupid shit.
So I would totally get that because it's like this long wheelbase, total like corporate cruiser.
David, tell me what the VIN number is. I'm going to tell you right now.
That's actually wrong.
I don't even need a database. It's in my brain.
You can't argue with stupid.
No, you can't.
That's right.
Are we
I
taking
win
a
all
break
my
to look
arguments.
this up right now?
Yeah, well, someone's looking it up on their phone, and that's probably good because we like to fact check ourselves.
So, sorry,
Check.com.
sidebar question on me. What if you're just gonna pull some I-beams off of something to run? I don't know, in like an off-road setup.
That's actually the only difference,
Go
or
fast.
that's what I'm reading here is that the
Hang on, James.
the,
Pause.
the difference
screw me.
is that one is the LS and one is the fucking North Star.
Oh, okay. So the STSV is the North Star engine, and the CTSV is the LS version.
Yeah, that's the LS6.
Oh, right.
They
Okay.
have
See, we learned
no
something
difference other than that.
I'm sure there are minute differences here and there,
new.
but
And all you
from what
Cadillac
I'm
guys
reading-
out there are shaking your fists at us.
Mhm.
That's cool. We're learning. Give
But
us
then I
credit.
think in 09 they got rid of the North Star and it's just the they put the supercharged 6.2 in it. So what's the
Yeah.
6.2? Is that the
6.2 is the LS3, but I don't know what the supercharged version of that is. The LS9.
I don't even know. All right,
don't know, man.
continue.
Continue, James.
What truck do I want to pull the beams off?
To put on a Suburban.
No, not on a Suburban. Put on something else. I have a stupid idea that I'm thinking about.
Is it to put him on an MR2? Because
No, it's not to
I'm
put them
not-
on an
I don't
emergency.
like
That's Celica.
What are the best beams out there? Stock. What beams do you want to
Ranger.
pull?
Well, you got to go old ones, right? Because if you get the cast ones, you can't weld to them, and then you would have to pretty much remake them. So if
why
you're
don't we
gonna-
just make him?
Make your own beams?
Yeah.
Do it
Well, if you're gonna
yourself.
make your own beams, why don't you just make your own A-arms?
Perfect. Let's make him.
because one's the dirt nasty travel, and one's like, oh, look at me, I drove a Cadillac
yeah,
travel.
I like that dirty hooker travel.
All right, good. Then you want beams, man. Then get some old beams off like an F100 when I get rid of them.
Oh, all right, fair
Because
enough.
those are forged. You can weld to them.
Is that 2-wheel drive?
Mm-hmm.
You want 2-wheel drive or you want 4-wheel
I
drive
want
beams?
2-wheel drive.
Oh.
Wow, looks like there's a deal being made right now, everybody.
Yeah.
I'll give them to you
They're
for
winking at each other.
Are you
They're
gonna-
Tinky promising now.
OTPHJ.
Are you gonna get rid of that rear end too?
It's already gone.
Oh, it's
You
already
want a Ford
gone?
9-inch?
Dude, the rear end was fucked, dude. It was so bananaed
Oh, okay.
from getting hit by a
Go
car.
get a housing and you could have the third member.
If
What's the-
you don't get rid of that in the next week, I'm going to throw it away.
What's the third
James
member?
is taking it. It's like the dropout gear set.
No, I know what a third member is. What are the?
Oh.
Let me
what's
show
the
you my
gear-
third member.
Yeah,
What's the
1,
ratio?
2, 3.
My third. What is the gear ratio? Does it have?
3.
The gear ratio is like, consider you have 1-to-1 and then you use
Shut
the,
your mouth!
I believe it's a 410.
There you go.
355s, I think.
If
I
nobody
think it's a 355.
buys my 1UZ setup, I'm gonna put it in the Celica and make the dirtiest rat runner of all time.
Wasn't that the plan originally?
Yeah, it was until I hit hardships in life and I had to sell everything that made me happy. Jesus,
We've all
Christ.
been there.
Most ships are hard,
all
man. I
been
mean,
there.
think about
Thanks,
the things
Jake.
you could
Thanks
hit
for
in the
making me
ocean.
feel bad, dude.
Yeah, what a piece
Well,
of
what
shit.
a dick.
Yeah, but
what
apparently,
I'm here for.
if nobody's gonna buy it for half of a decent price, then
If you don't sell it, you haven't lost any money. So,
It'll be worth more in the future when we all drive electric Jeeps.
all right, Rob's spoken, and I'm over it. So we're
3,
done here,
2, 1.
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and catch us next time. Hopefully, we're gonna have some gear and driveline experts in here to talk us through some technical questions. So if you're listening to this and you do have a question that you want us to ask these guys, comment so that we can ask the appropriate questions that you guys want to hear the answers to.
And we're pretty close to being fully moved in, so I think we're going to put some more media up on the old Instagram and maybe even a YouTube video.
MEATIA.
YouTube
video.
Media.
who's gonna
Ooh.
film that?
Media.
Yeah, can we change it? Can we just do Bent Motorsports Media Update, and then it's like a cooking show because we just show them how to cook like beef and shit because it's media.
Thanks for listening in. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Bent Motorsports. Stay updated on the latest happenings, future projects, videos, and events here at the shop. Remember, guys, at Bent Motorsports, bids in stock, we've got it.